Well, good morning, everyone. I'm Rick McAllister, President and CEO of the Florida Retail Federation, and I'm joined here today by a group of statewide leaders to kick off a campaign to save and create Florida jobs. First, I'd like to talk about something that's familiar to all Florida families. It wasn't too long ago that Florida led the nation in job creation, the lowest unemployment rate, the highest population growth, a housing market that saw existing homes double in value in less than 5 years, a state budget that provided billions of new dollars every year to pay for services that the citizens of our state needed, local cities and counties having the money to do what their citizens needed them to do. And then, in what seemed like only a very few months, all of that changed. Florida's family watched helplessly as our unemployment rate surpassed the national average, as our home values dropped by 20 to 50%, as their investments at home dropped by 30 to 60%. Families all across the state, from Jacksonville to Miami to Tampa, Sarasota and around, watch the national picture where Wall Street dropped to one knee and institutions folded or weakened and were absorbed. They watched Washington pass a rescue package of $750 billion to save those investment firms and banks, only to watch that not really work and watch those toxic assets continue to be a part of those banks, and saw those banks not lend the money that businesses so desperately needed. Florida's families in Miami and other areas saw automobile icons in Detroit close plants and lay off tens of thousands of workers and ask Congress for billions of dollars in rescue funds. Even that didn't seem to help. The nightly news has been a constant stream of economic bad news, and Florida families began to feel helpless, powerless to do anything but worry about their own jobs and their own financial stability. And then an interesting thing happened. Florida families began to do something about it. For the first time in 50 years, Florida families began to reduce their family debt. They began to increase their family savings. They began to understand that there was something that they could do to stabilize their own financial situation. Our purpose here today is to first of all congratulate those Florida families on reducing debt and increasing savings. Those are positive things for those families. Those are positive things for the state of Florida. But we're also here to suggest that there is a third thing that Florida's families can do to not only help their own economic situation, but also to help the state of Florida, to help us recover from this economy. No, we may not be able to play a role in Wall Street or in Detroit, but Florida's families can play a big role in Main Street. We can support the businesses that are providing jobs in our communities and in our state. The organizations represented here today are joining forces to spread that message of empowering Florida citizens to bring the sun back to our great state. I'm sure all of you know that Florida's gross domestic product is 75% consumer spending. Almost all of our economy rides on the backs of consumer spending, how much Florida families consume. But more importantly, our message is today not how much they spend, but where they spend it. They don't have to spend more to start turning things around. They just need to be more selective about where they spend their money. Spending close to home with businesses in their own backyard, by that we mean Florida, can start turning our economy around. This is the message that we're delivering to Florida's families through the Backyard Economics campaign. And I'm pleased to say that we have a strong, united effort to make that happen. Joining me today are leaders from the Florida Chamber of Commerce, Florida League of Mayors, Florida Tax Watch, Florida Press Association, Florida Outdoor Advertisers Association, the National Federation of Independent Business, and the League of Mayors. All of these groups have been impacted by the loss of revenue that's led to layoffs, closed businesses, and cuts to important services. Remember, we are not asking Floridians to spend any more money than they currently are. We support reduced debt. We support increased savings. But if each of us will consider where we spend our money, we can make a difference in our own economy. It can make a real difference if you spend with your local businesses and retailers that employ your neighbors, your friends, and your families. The brick and mortar businesses and shops that are invested in your communities, your mom and pops, your national companies, everyone that provides jobs in Florida, everyone that pays property taxes that fund your local police, your fire departments, your local government, everyone that pays corporate income taxes that fund our state government. I'd now like to introduce Dominic Calabro, who's going to talk to us a little bit about some important research that was done to discuss exactly this point. Dominic?
Thank you, Rick. And as I start, Dominic Calabro, President and CEO of Florida Tax Watch. I really think this is a great opportunity to say that, as I said before, a crisis is a terrible thing to waste. I think what we really like about this is we can do something very specific, and Florida families can do something very constructive without any further spending or any further pain to spend their money here. Shopping locally is not only neighborly, but it makes great economic sense. Florida Tax Watch has done an econometric analysis with our Council of Economic Advisors. It's in your packet. And basically, spending money locally saves jobs in your community. The next job they save may be your job. $100,000 of online sales outside of Florida costs you and your community one job. So the best way to help Florida's economy from home is to shop locally and start our economic recovery in your own community. What I like about this again is that this really is something specific families can do today, tomorrow, to improve their lot, their community, and their local government services. And at this point, I'd then like to introduce Mark Wilson, the President and CEO of the Florida Chamber of Commerce. Mark?